This year, 2023, had its highs, had its lows, but perhaps nothing higher than what we saw on the racetrack in the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile with the win by Cody's Wish, defending his title. It was a storybook year that had a sad ending with the passing of Cody Dorman the weekend of Breeders' Cup, but what a phenomenal finish on the racetrack for the racehorse Cody's Wish, who went out as a star on top at age 5.
I mean, he was the story of the year for sure. And for him to finish out his career on Breeders' Cup Day in the manner in which he did, life and death to the end, didn't know whether he was going to win or not. It looked like he was going to, then maybe he wasn't. And then he put his nose down at the right time. Just a fitting climax to a wonderful story that tragically ended the day after with the passing of Cody. But this was the way this storyline figured to play out. And it played out with a tremendous racehorse, Cody's Wish, who certainly, in my opinion anyway, earned Horse of the Year honors in victory.
And they're into the stretch, and it's National Treasure still there. Cody's Wish in between horses, now up into second. On the outside, it's Skippy Longstocking. Here comes Cody's Wish alongside of National Treasure. Cody's Wish takes the lead. Cody's Wish and National Treasure coming down to the line, fighting back National Treasure. Cody's Wish! Cody's Wish! I think he won it by a nose on the wire over National Treasure. Thank you, Cody, and thank you, Cody's Wish.
And what a story it was. I've taken part in this and gone to the website at Make-A-Wish Foundation. Encourage you to do the same during this holiday season. Help out the children of the world who need a little bit of a boost. And what a boost Cody's Wish, the horse, gave Cody Dorman. This photo from the Make-A-Wish Foundation website. Take a chance, if you can, to go to the website wish.org to donate. We told you about that back when the Breeders' Cup was complete in our wrap-up. And as we wrap up the season, I think it's a good time to bring that back up. Now, Jeff, this 2023 season for the 3-year-olds was a mixed bag, if you will. 3 different Triple Crown race winners, but they did all get together at the Travers. Arcangelo was best that day, and that's probably enough to make him the champion 3-year-old the way the season turned out. Arcangelo got the 2 big grade ones, of course, winning the Belmont Stakes as well. What do you make of the 3-year-old crop as we look back at 2023?
Well, disappointing only because we didn't really have a dominant runner until the Belmont. And then that dominant runner, Arcangelo, who proved his worth in the Travers, wasn't able to finish out the year. We were so much looking forward to having him run on Breeders' Cup Day in the Classic to see how he would compare to the older horses. That's really the way one of the ways you can evaluate the crop.
Right.
And then again, for the second year in a row, the Kentucky Derby winner didn't make it, Mage, and he's retired, as is Arcangelo. So I think it was probably a crop that was, I hate to use the word average, but it was probably what normal would be with no superstars in there.
Right.
But you always want to see these horses at least compete as a 4-year-old and continue on. And I don't know how many of these that participated in the Triple Crown races last year or this year will do. So, I mean, Arcangelo was a good colt. Don't get me wrong. Right. And Mage on one day anyway, as Rich Strike was the previous year, was a good colt.
Right.
But somewhat unfulfilled, I would say. Maybe you have a different opinion, but left me wanting a little bit more than we got.
We are expected to see National Treasure, the Preakness winner, back at age 4. That's a good sign. And as we just showed in the video with Cody's Wish winning the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile, it was that nose desperate victory over National Treasure. So maybe that's a sign of things to come for that runner as he turns to age 4. But when they all showed down at Saratoga in the Travers, the Derby and Preakness winner weren't in the frame as they came to the wire. It was all about Arcangelo.
Forte still 5 lengths back and Disarm trying to come through a narrow opening as Arcangelo has opened up a 3-length lead, and it's the Belmont winner in charge. Disarm gets loose late and is coming with a menacing bid. It's Arcangelo and Disarm 1-2. Arcangelo, another Travers for Javier Castellano, defeating Disarm. Tapatrice was third, and Forte a distant fourth in 2:02 and 1/5 seconds. Congratulations, Jenna Antonucci. What a training job.
And of course, Jenna Antonucci, one of the big names of 2023, winning the Big Sport of Turfdom Award from the Turf Writers. But that's not the real reason she's namely the star of the Humans for 2023. It's because she became the first female trainer to win a Triple Crown race when she was successful with Arcangelo in the Belmont Stakes. So a big year for Arcangelo, a bigger year for Jenna Antonucci, and female trainers worldwide certainly have their beacon and their glass ceiling shattered and something to aspire to. Jenna Antonucci breaking that glass ceiling this year, and congratulations to those folks. And I would expect they will be honored at the Eclipse Awards with the championship 3-year-old honors as well, Arcangelo. Jeff, we know the 3-year-olds get a lot of attention, and they're probably overrated in the public spotlight in terms of the greater scene in horse racing. Let's talk about some horses who were underrated. One for you and one for me this season in the racing game. Tell me about a horse that you thought didn't get the attention that he deserved.
Well, we both did this independently, and I came up with one and you came up with one. I actually like yours a little bit better than mine, but I'll give you the stage for that in a sec. But I always thought that Elite Power never really got the credit that he deserves. He was a colt that lost his first 3 races and then proceeded to win 8 out of his next 9. He was a fantastic sprinter. My only disappointment with him is he never got a chance to prove what he could do around 2 turns. And being a son of Curlin, I would think that he would have been just as good. Yeah. He went halfway around the world early in the year to win a major race. He won the Breeders' Cup Sprint. And if you go back and look at the Breeders' Cup Sprint, that was a really good race. And I mean, he beat Gunite, who was terrific. He beat the Chosen Braun, who came out of that race and won a stakes. Right. Hoist the Gold was well beaten in that race, came back and won the Cigar. Dr. Shivel, who had been beaten a photo in the Breeders' Cup, he was in behind those horses as well, one of the also-rans. Yeah. And Speedboat Beach, who was in there, who might run back in the Malibu, wouldn't surprise me if he wins that. That was one of the epic renewals of the Breeders' Cup Sprint, and yet I don't think anybody really talks about it because of the other things that happened on Breeders' Cup weekend. But again, overall, 13 starts, 9 wins, a second and a third, won 10 out of his last 11. I think 8 of I said I was wrong about that. I think 8 of the last 9 was not correct. I think it was more like 10 out of his last 11. Anyway, the bottom line is this. He was a fantastic horse. We'll see his babies run in a few years, and hopefully that he can reproduce himself. But I thought he was kind of overlooked a little bit, but maybe not as much as the one that you came up with.
Well, look, when you're the stablemate of Cody's Wish and you kind of do the same thing, 7 furlongs, a mile, that kind of effort with Elite Power, it's easy to be overlooked. I gave the nod to Idiomatic. She had just a fantastic season in the Distaff division, of course, culminated with the victory in the Breeders' Cup Distaff. But what a season. 9 starts, 8 wins, a second-place finish. Jeff, when you rattle off wins in the Delaware Handicap, the Personal Ensign, the Spinster, and the Breeders' Cup Distaff in succession, that is all-time great filly performance as far as the record goes, yet nobody, and I mean nobody, is going to talk about Idiomatic as one of the star distaffers of the last decade or so, right? I mean, she's not going to be Zenyatta, she's not going to be Beholder, she's not going to be Songbird, she's not going to be in any of that kind of consideration. But when you talk pure resume, this season that she had this year was absolutely one for the ages. I got to admit, though, I did a little bit of a double take because I'm like, Idiomatic had a great year, and I went back and I'm like, did she win the distaff or not? It's like one of those things because like it just got lost in the shuffle with everything else that was so eye-catching and intriguing and newsworthy in the Breeders' Cup. That's why she was unheralded to me, and what a great season she had. I don't know how she stacks up with the others. Maybe she caught a crop this year that wasn't that strong in the distaff division, but there was Clairiere. There were some other good ones in there, during the course of this season in the distaff division. There was Nest at one point in time and others. So, this was, I thought, a pretty good distaff division throughout the year, and she had an all-time kind of season this year.
I'm glad we talked about her because in 3 years, whatever, when one of her foals goes through the ring at Keeneland or whatever, and I'm going to look at it, I'm saying, yeah, I forgot how good she was. It's
right.
staring you in the face in the catalog page, but you're right. She was unappreciated. Maybe she didn't win in brilliant style. Maybe she didn't win by a lot of lengths when she won, but she won. And isn't that the name of the game? So I like your pick, Idiomatic. Elite Power, I think we know him, but again, lost in the shuffle. And I think when he goes to stud and they start promoting him, they're going to have a lot to promote. And I actually think he's going to be very popular at stud, and hopefully his full run as well as he did.
Okay, let's finish on a note that looks back at 2023 with an eye forward towards 2024. Which horse do you think we're going to be talking about most in 2024 from this year?
I think it's going to be Nysos, if I'm right about him. He's 2 for 2. He's won both of his races. Here's a breeze that he had not too long ago, December the 10th. One thing about him is, for a really, really good colt, he's so handy in the morning. He's never going to have to work in 58 or 111. He doesn't have to do that, which is one of the reasons why you can see him on the outside, why he was a big price in his first start at Del Mar. He didn't advertise himself, came back, won that race by 10, came back and won a stakes, training really, really well for Bob Baffert, son of Nyquist. He moves well. My first reaction, or not my first, but my reaction after his win in his second start of his career was that might be the best colt Bob's had, maybe since Justify. I mean, he's got a lot to prove since then, but I just think that he's got the look of that kind of horse because he's so handy. He's got speed, a beautiful athlete, beautiful mover, and I think next year, if he can stay healthy and stay sound, which is like 3/4 of the battle, if not more, I think he's going to rise to the top and become one of the epic 3-year-olds next year. And that's what I'm looking forward to.
That's our look back at 2023 on the It's Official podcast as we look ahead